What's up, y'all? It's been a minute. It's been quite some time since we last posted a video. A lot of things have happened over the past few weeks, or a week, I don't know how long since my last video, but definitely the last 2 weeks, a lot of price action has been happening, a lot of news, and Bitcoin has hit an all-time high of pretty much exactly 112K US dollars. So Bitcoin, as we know, 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. And depending on what currency it's denominated in, depends on the price. So Bitcoin priced in Nigerian Naira is probably millions of dollars right now. And with US dollars, Bitcoin has reached $112,000, all-time high. So it's definitely has moved quite a bit, and yeah, it's been nice. It has pulled back a little bit to about 109K, something like that. So that's a nice dip that many people can start to buy in. I think so. 109K, it's not too bad. Still a 99% or more discount. Bitcoin is going to $1 million, so if you can get anything $100,000, $110,000, $150,000, $200,000, $250,000, $500,000, $750,000, it's a discount. You're going to make gains no matter what, as long as you have a lower time preference, which means you think long term, have a long term mindset. And many people who do well in the fiat system or the legacy financial system, they buy index funds or ETFs, right? And like VT-Sax, Vanguard index fund, or if you want to think about ETFs, popular ETFs, you got SPY, right? The S&P 500. And when people typically pour money into that, they do well over time. They beat the market. They beat many hedge funds. So it doesn't take that much to beat, hedge funds, institutions, banks. You just have to buy the S&P 500, and you beat most of the hedge fund managers out there. They're trying to beat the S&P 500, but many of them fail. There are a few who win, or who win consistently. Maybe a few win, a year or two, but on a long-term basis, 10 years or even 5 years, they don't beat the S&P 500. So, when they park their money into something that grows over time, they make money. But now we got Bitcoin, and it does way better than that. 100 times better, right? S&P 500 averages 6 to 15% since inception. So I just use that whole that whole range from 6 to 12%. Bitcoin since inception has compounded over 50%. Even if you're using CAGR, I think it compounded, I could be wrong, but 60 to 80%. That's amazing. Imagine putting $1,000 into something that grows over 50%, 60%, 70%, 80% a year after year, compounded growth, 50% a year. That's amazing. And that's way better than the 6 to 12% that you'll get holding the S&P 500. Now, if you're a really smart stock picker, right, and you just happen to be better than hedge fund managers, you happen to be better than holding the S&P 500, then when you're picking individual stocks, then you might be able to beat that 6 to 12% and get 20%. However, getting past 50% is very difficult. Very difficult. But with Bitcoin, not difficult at all. You can simply park your money, put it in cold storage, lock it up, keep adding to it, month after month. Even $1, shoot, $1 a freaking day will work tremendously. The more, the better. The more, the better for sure. So yeah, if you just park your money, I don't see why anyone wouldn't put their money into Bitcoin when the average is 50% plus a year. Wait, I'm not, I went to school, right? Graduated undergrad with exercise physiology degree. Doesn't require really mathematics. It requires science, but it requires a certain mindset, right? The thinking to do hard work to get past certain lessons and get a degree, but not mathematics, right? And right now, I study traditional Chinese medicine, so I'm in my master's doctorate program to become a doctor in traditional Chinese medicine. Again, that's science, physiology, etc., chi, prana, all those different things. So it requires a certain amount of discipline, intelligence, I guess, to do these, particular curriculums. But not really mathematics, right? What I'm trying to say is, I'm not that good at math, right? Even in high school, even in college, trying to pass my math courses to get my degree, I wasn't good at math. However, I do know, even though I'm not good at math, I'm pretty good at science, right? Because, graduated bachelor's of science, and I'm currently still in science programs to get my doctorate. I'm not that good at math, but I do know that 50% is much greater than 12% or 15%. I think so. I really think so. And if I think so, which I know so, why not hold Bitcoin? It makes sense to me. Makes sense. It's the benchmark. It's the benchmark of the 21st century, of the 22nd century, of the 23rd century, and beyond. It's the benchmark. Until there's a new technology that overpowers Bitcoin, that's faster, while still being secure and decentralized, in the next 50, 100 years, 500 years from now, if Bitcoin is irrelevant and there's something that's, more cryptographically powerful, more quantum resistant technology, then no, nothing's going to be Bitcoin. Nothing's going to outperform Bitcoin. Nothing's going to be more secure until those things happen, until we have outgrown technology, until technology has outgrown Bitcoin pretty much. But right now, technology is advanced, but not as advanced as certain things can be. Bitcoin is the best technology out there. There's other things too. There's chips, quantum chips, energy, all those different things. And Bitcoin ties into all of those things. Cryptography, mathematics, energy, security. Come on. Freaking, it's a quantum leap of technology. The best thing to happen in this century. In the previous centuries. But obviously we had to have some foundation to get to where we're at right now. So, yeah, that's all I'm saying. Just Bitcoin is doing well. It's never too late to buy Bitcoin. It's never too late to buy Bitcoin. It's never too late to buy Bitcoin. So, if you're buying now at 109K, you have massive upside. Massive. Ditch those S&P 500 ETFs. Ditch those Diddy dollars that you hold and those other stocks that you hold. Put it into Bitcoin. Now, if you do have a nice Bitcoin stack, then you can, diversify into, or not even diversify. I don't like that. Diversify into Bitcoin, but if you want to speculate, if you want to try to beat Bitcoin in the short term, you're not going to beat it in the long term. You're not going to beat Bitcoin 50% annual growth, right? However, in the short term, like your 3-month span, 6 months, 12 months, maybe even 42 months or so, maybe you might pick a stock that might outperform, say, something like strategy, which is a leverage play on Bitcoin. They hold over 530,000 Bitcoin. So something like that, they may 1 to 3x times leverage. It's 1 to 3 times X leverage on Bitcoin. So you might get 1 to 3 times more gains than if you held Bitcoin. However, like I said, that's just a speculative play. And you're not holding Bitcoin, but you're holding paper Bitcoin. MicroStrategy or strategy is holding Bitcoin for you, but it can do well for your portfolio. You can get massive gains from it. So you can do that. There's Apple, there's Nvidia, there's Tesla, all these different things. You can have some growth there, but there's speculation, and they're not going to outperform Bitcoin over 10-year, 15-year, 20-year, 30-year, 40-year, 50-year time span. Maybe in the short term, but not in the long term. And if there is a stock that will do it, it will be strategy, because they hold so much Bitcoin. They hold so much Bitcoin that they're using that leverage, for them. So yeah, try not to speculate too much. Hold Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin if you haven't already, and enjoy this ride. There's more to life than Bitcoin, but I don't see a good life without Bitcoin. So take care, y'all. Peace.